When I go back to mid-April and look at the reactions to the announcement that ITZY's next song was going to be called Mafia in the Morning, it looks like there was a lot of concern that ITZY were using the Italian Mafia as a concept and for aesthetics, especially from Italian fans. People were not pleased that JYP Entertainment were going to have ITZY sing a song about a crime organization saying I'm the Mafia and we do it like a mafia while making gun signs with their hands, romanticizing what the Mafia is and all the horrible things they do. Well, when the song finally came out, Ryujin clarified in an interview that the song Mafia in the Morning isn't referring to the Italian Mafia crime syndicate, rather the concept actually revolves around the game Mafia, one that many of us have probably played. Among Us, which blew up last year, was inspired by the Mafia party game. It seems to be very popular in Korea. I've seen so many groups play it. There were even variety shows created based on the game. ITZY's song relates the game to love and relationships. That's why the lyrics talk about concealing themselves and their feelings just like you would conceal your role in the game. Also, hence the album name Guess Who. However, despite the clarification, there are those who still don't like the idea of it because they're still waving gun hand signs around saying I'm the Mafia. And while there are other mafias out there in other countries, the term mafia has its roots in the Italian language. I don't know, what do you guys think? Does this song trivialize mafias, specifically the Italian mafia and the horrific things they do, especially for those who won't know the song is referring to the game? If you're an Italian fan, I would definitely love to hear your perspective on whether or not this is a problem. But I would love to hear everyone's thoughts on the song itself. Let's do a tiny K-pop case study here. What are your true thoughts on ITZY's Mafia in the Morning? Because I'll be honest, when it first came out, I thought, it's okay. I mean, the choreography looks awesome, especially this part. They found another creative way to do their signature ending pose, but nothing about the song really stuck out to me. Actually, scratch that. This part always stuck out to me. However, I do think I liked it more than most of the reported reactions. But then, the days went by. More and more performances seeped into my brain. The pants got more and more amazing. And now, I think I love it.
I think I'm in love with you.
I then coincidentally saw articles saying netizens confessed the song has grown on them and that JYP was right.
You were right about me.
ITZY have already won on music shows for it, but are now rising on other charts, surpassing some of their previous songs that got praise almost right away. But something that did get huge praise right off the bat this week were Aespa's teaser photos for their first comeback. I mean, look at these. Here's the interesting thing about these photos. They're the work of Brian Huynh. You know, the guy that basically called SM out for their previous Aespa teasers looking very similar to his work. And although SM never publicly said they plagiarized him or at the very least were inspired by his work, at least to my knowledge, if I missed their statement, let me know. Them hiring Brian to work on Aespa's comeback photos does appear to a lot of fans like SM is saying,
You were right about me.
At this point, it just seems like this is how SM does business now. If you guys remember, this is exactly what happened with Red Velvet. Accusations that they plagiarized these outfits and end up collaborating with that designer. SM are lucky that these artists seem like the nicest people. It didn't look like Brian was ever angry about it, nor did he throw any hate toward Aespa. He just joked that that's why he stanned BLACKPINK, but obviously that was just a joke. These new photos are absolutely next level pun, very much intended. Brian said his dream is to design his own RPG, which is why Ningning looks like the final boss, ready to snap us all the way, not just half. Can we get that game in the works, please? Fulfill everyone's dreams. Now, TXT were in a similar situation this week, but rather than the artist bringing it up, someone brought it up to the artist, which is why fans have a suspicion that it was Anti's trying to drag TXT's comeback. The boys just released a concept trailer and someone noticed that the falling chunks of ice from the sky as they danced through it looked a lot like the concept of Burberry's commercial from last year. Someone took it one step further and messaged the director asking if this was negotiated or if it was plagiarism. However, the director behind the advertisement basically said while it was probably inspired, it's not the same tone or style that was in his work. He also said that Burberry probably wouldn't mind because at the end of the day, Burberry owns the commercial, not him, and they have not said anything about it. So unless unless they do, this is pretty much case closed. Unfortunately, for those who have been watching Mentor Coach Lisa in Youth With You, it seems like we are stuck with an indefinite cliffhanger. And it sucks too, because one week we're over the moon seeing Ten and Lisa breaking the internet, dancing together for the show. He went to the YG building to show her the choreography, part of the group I call the Tidal Wave. And then the next week, we find out the government is suspending the show's finale. Now, why would the government get involved? There are actually several controversies that preceded this announcement, and we won't go through them too much because that's a little outside of the K-pop world, but one of them actually revolved around wasting milk and yogurt. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but basically the show was partnered up with a dairy company. They incorporated the partnership through the voting, and it turns out that people were buying milk and yogurt to get the QR voting codes and then dumping the drinks in the sewers. Look, I don't know what's true and what's not. It just sucks to see another situation similar to Mix 9 where the trainees go through so much to not debut. Imagine watching the hardships of Produce 101 or 48 just for there to be no payoff. No ITZY, X1, 101, or IOI. Oh my goodness, that reminds me. When was the last time we were without a Produce group since IOI? Who, by the way, just celebrated their 5th anniversary. We finally got to see them get together, 9 out of 11 members at least. And seeing them together, talking, laughing, playing around, just brings back all these emotion and reminds me that
I think I'm in love with you.
Peso, peso, peso.